Children, I hope all of you are doing fine and are taking good care of your health, because as I said earlier in my previous videos, these times are really tough. We need to take good care of not only our physical health but mental health as well, and eat lots of healthy food. Don't eat junk food, not at this time. It will be detrimental to your health. I welcome all of you to the video class of class 10. The topic that I have for today is the second sublesson of the third unit of your book, First Flight. The name of the sublesson is The Black Aeroplane, which is a small story written by Frederick Forrest. Frederick Forrest, my dear children, is an actor, a political commentator, as well as a short story writer who has written many short stories. His stories are read widely. Okay, so he is a multi-talented personality who is involved with literature for a long time. Now, coming to this particular story, The Black Aeroplane, this is the story of a pilot. The pilot is the narrator of this particular chapter. And what happens? This pilot, he is flying his fighter aeroplane. He is a fighter pilot. Okay, so he is flying his fighter aeroplane, which is a Dakota. And the number of the fighter aeroplane Dakota is DS-088. This is the number, and he is flying it home. He is going to London. He is from London. Okay, so he is flying this fighter aeroplane, from Paris to London. Everything is going very smooth. Let me tell you something about Dakota Aeroplane. Dakota Aeroplane was immensely and very, very widely used in the Second World War. It is also called one of the best planes of the Second World War. Okay, so he was flying that Dakota. It has got, this particular plane that he was flying had got 2 fuel tanks. Okay, everything was going very smoothly. Things were fine. All his navigational equipments, including the technical equipments, everything was fine, and the equipments were working in a perfect condition, whether it was his compass or whether it were other equipments related to navigation. As he traveled 150 kilometers away from Paris, he decided to make a contact with the ATC. What is an ATC? Air traffic control. Air traffic control is the ground control which gives guidance and further information related to their navigation to the pilots. So he made a contact with the ATC of Paris, and he asked for further direction, and he asked whether he was flying in the correct direction. The ATC official informed him to deviate the plane slightly to 12° west. That was something which he did immediately. Okay, and he asked for further information, and the ATC official informed him that the weather conditions were just fine for flying. At that time, it was 1:30 a.m. at night. So his was the only plane up in the sky at that time, and he was in a very pleasant and happy mood. He was flying to London. Then suddenly there was a change in the weather condition. Now what happened? There was a huge patch of clouds, and this cloud was in the west direction. He was flying in the west direction only. As I told you, he deviated the plane towards the 12° west. This is something which I discussed just now, right? So in the west direction, he could see a very big patch of cloud, and this was not the normal kind of cloud. It was a patch of stormy cloud. Perhaps it was the weather condition was not going to be good ahead. Now what happened? He had 2 or 3 options in front of him. The first option was he could have raised the height of the plane, and he could have flown over the patch of the clouds, which was not possible. He could have done the second thing. He could have decreased the height of the plane, and he could have flown from under the patch of the clouds. But both the things were not possible because of the huge size of the patch of clouds. Then the last option was he could have flown around the patch, but then that also was not feasible because he had already started using the second fuel tank of his Dakota aeroplane. So he was running short in fuel. That is why that option was also not feasible for him. So he had to take a quick decision because fighter planes, they fly at a breakneck speed. So he had to take a quick decision, and he decided that it's better that he should straight head into the patch of the cloud and fly through the patch to the other side of the cloud. I hope you have understood. Now what? This is a very risky decision. Pilots should not take such decisions. Or the second option was he could have gone back to Paris. He could have landed his plane to, he could have taken his plane back to Paris, and he could have landed there. And he could have traveled to London the next day. That was again an option, but he wanted his English breakfast in the morning. So he decided to take the risk, and he flew through the patches of cloud. Now what happened? As he entered that huge patch, there was atmospheric disturbance that was noted by the equipment. All the equipments in his aeroplane, they started malfunctioning. The compass stopped functioning completely, and it came to a dead stop. That was something which was a frightening aspect, a frightening thing for a pilot who was heading home. Not only that, all other navigational devices which are put on the front panel of the pilot's chamber, those navigational devices had also stopped working. So he was in a very fearful, in a very risky and dangerous condition. He lost all contact with the ATC. He was not able to maintain contact with either the Paris ATC or London ATC. So he was lost in that big patch of cloud. Now what happened? Suddenly he looked towards. He was petrified. He knew that his life was going to end. In this condition, suddenly on his right, he found that there was another aeroplane which was of black color. And this aeroplane did not have any lights on its wings. Usually aeroplanes, they have lights on their wings. So this black aeroplane did not have any lights, but the pilot was waving at him, and the pilot was asking him, was trying to help him, and was asking him to follow the plane, the black aeroplane. And just like a child, just like a novice, because he did not have any option, he decided to follow that black aeroplane, and the pilot who was guiding him to come after him. And he took the black aeroplane. It went ahead and it deviated. It turned towards the north direction, and our narrator also turned his plane to the north direction. After 10 minutes of flying, they were able to come out of the patch of that stormy cloud. And he could see the runway lights which were there in front of him, and in a very happy and ecstatic mood, he landed the plane, and he was very happy to come out alive out of such a dangerous situation. Right? As he landed the plane, he could see the runway lights, and it was easy for him to locate the runway and land the plane. He landed it and immediately went to the ATC, and he asked for the other pilot who had landed the plane before him. On hearing this, the ATC official, the lady who was there at the desk, she informed him. She said that, which black aeroplane do you mean? She said that there was only one plane up in the sky, and that was yours. There were no other planes up in the sky at that time of night. On hearing this, the pilot was very, very petrified. He was very, very perplexed, puzzled. He didn't know who that pilot was. He wanted to thank him, but there was no one to thank him. So this is how the story comes to an end, and it is actually an open-ended story. Now the question arises, and this is a question which is meant for all the readers, all the students, that what do you think had happened when the pilot was up in the sky? Was there a real black aeroplane which was coming to his assistance? Do you think that this is what happened, or do you think that this was just his hallucination? Hallucination when you dream in a wild manner, when you dream in a nonsensical manner. So was it a piece of imagination because he was frightened and his mind may be imagining all those things, or perhaps his mind in his frightened condition had imagined a black aeroplane just by the side of the plane of the narrator. Now this is how the chapter has come to an end. Now it is up to us to understand and form conclusions based on the chapter, whether it was hallucination, or whether there was really a black plane which was helping the pilot, the narrator. Okay. Now, coming to the word meanings, I would like you people to just focus on the words which I have written on the blackboard. Yeah, the words are, see the tough words, Dakota. Dakota, as I said earlier, it was immensely used in the World War II, the Second World War. It is a fighter plane. Then the second word, he was flying from, where was he flying from? He was flying from France to England. He was going from Paris in France to London in England, right? And then what was the number of the plane? The plane number was DS-088, right? And then ATC. ATC stands for Air Traffic Control. And he was asked by the ATC official to deviate the direction to 12 degree west. Okay? And then the next navigational equipment which was used by the pilot was a compass. Okay? And then at the end I use the word hallucination. The meaning of the word hallucination is imagination, imagining things. Okay? And then next, this is the last point which I want you people to focus upon, that this chapter is an open-ended lesson. The meaning of the open-ended lesson is that it does not have a very specific ending. The ending is a little bit complicated and confusing. The readers are free to conclude the ending in their own way. That is the meaning of an open-ended lesson or a story. Okay, I hope you have understood the chapter. I am going to upload the assignment or the homework questions related to this chapter in our school app. Please log into the students portal, and whatever questions that are given there, just complete it in your fair copy. Thank you and have a nice day. I hope you enjoyed listening to the explanation of this chapter. Bye-bye.